Book 12, The Quiet American Ethicist Online, Scholarship, Service, and Ethical Leadership, teaches that the highest evolution of online and virtual work is not productivity alone, but the development of a calm, ethical, embodied human being who uses knowledge, technology, communication, scholarship, and leadership in service of human flourishing, dignity, peace and harmony, and sustainable civilization. The book argues that modern digital culture often rewards visibility, emotional intensity, persuasion, status performance, ideological certainty, or algorithmic attention, while quietly neglecting humility, wisdom, ethical restraint, nervous system regulation, thoughtful scholarship, compassion, and lawful responsibility. Therefore, the central thesis of Book 12 is both practical and civilizational. True online leadership begins with ethical self-governance and matures into compassionate service. The book introduces the foundational doctrine that leadership is embodied ethics practiced consistently in ordinary life. Ethical leadership is not domination, control, charisma, self-promotion, or public influence for its own sake. Rather, it emerges through emotional regulation, truthful communication, lawful conduct, scholarly humility, consent-based responsibility, attentional integrity, and nervous system stability repeated across daily interactions. Emails, teaching, writing, online discussions, mentorship, research, professional communication, digital citizenship, and service become opportunities to embody dignity and moral steadiness. Thus, leadership becomes less about power over others and more about responsibility towards shared flourishing. Book 12 teaches that ethical authority grows from inner coherence rather than external visibility. In digital environments saturated with performance, branding, comparison, outrage cycles, and emotional amplification, individuals may confuse attention with trustworthiness or popularity with wisdom. This book reframes influence through a doctoral level lens. People ultimately trust consistency, sincerity, emotional steadiness, thoughtful discernment, and ethical congruence. Therefore, the Quiet Ethicist Online learns that the deepest influence arises not through performing certainty, but through embodying humility, transparency, intellectual honesty, compassionate seriousness, and nervous system maturity. The book introduces a doctoral level principle for KOLs, scholars, adjunct instructors, educators, ethical AI leaders, and future public intellectuals. Scholarship becomes ethical when it serves life rather than ego. Knowledge is reframed not as status accumulation, but as responsibility. Research, writing, teaching, artificial intelligence, critical thinking, communication, leadership, and innovation become meaningful when they reduce harm, increase understanding, support dignity, clarify confusion, deepen compassion, strengthen lawful participation, and contribute to sustainable human flourishing. The mature professional therefore asks not only, what do I know, but how does what I know help life? Book 12 further reframes ethical AI as public stewardship. Artificial intelligence becomes ethically meaningful when guided by transparency, accountability, consent, fairness, accessibility, compassion, human oversight, truthfulness, and respect for dignity. The Quiet Ethicist Online recognizes that technology shapes emotional climates, informational trust, cognitive habits, economic systems, education, governance, and social well-being. Therefore, technological literacy must be paired with moral maturity. Innovation without ethics risks dehumanization. Innovation grounded in humanity becomes civilization building. The book also teaches that teaching is leadership through emotional atmosphere. Whether in classrooms, online communities, social media, writing, mentorship, professional settings, or scholarship, individuals influence others not only through information but through emotional posture. Calm pacing, respectful listening, thoughtful disagreement, truthful communication, intellectual humility, compassion, accountability, and nervous system steadiness silently educate before formal teaching even begins. Therefore, ethical leadership becomes embodied pedagogy. People learn from who leaders are as much as from what leaders say. Book 12 develops the principle that service without nervous system stability becomes unsustainable sacrifice. Many people wish to help others, but become emotionally depleted through overextension, saviorism, guilt, ideological rigidity, burnout, or lack of boundaries. Ethical service therefore requires regulation, recovery, humility, consent, lawful clarity, realistic pacing, collaboration, and sustainable self-respect. Compassion becomes durable when supported by nervous system maturity. The mature ethicist serves steadily rather than dramatically, consistently rather than compulsively. The book further teaches that quiet leadership is often stronger than loud influence. Ethical online leadership does not require domination, emotional manipulation, excessive visibility, or certainty performance. Calm presence, careful thought, emotional steadiness, truthfulness, respectful disagreement, patience, and sustainable contribution gradually create trust. In an overstimulated world, regulated seriousness becomes psychologically stabilizing. Thus, quiet ethical leadership becomes a form of nervous system service to society. Book 12 also reframes citizenship and professionalism as ethical participation in civilization. Online professionals influence collective reality through communication, information sharing, technological choices, educational practices, digital ethics, public discourse, and workplace behavior. Therefore, ordinary professionalism becomes part of larger moral ecosystems. Ethical online work contributes to social trust, cooperation, peace building, consent-based interaction, lawful participation, and human flourishing in ways often invisible but deeply consequential. For KOLs, educators, adjunct instructors, ethical AI scholars, writers, and future leaders, Book 12 introduces a profound leadership insight. The deepest authority comes from regulated integrity. Audiences increasingly seek calm truthfulness, steadiness, thoughtful humanity, and psychological safety amid digital overload and emotional fragmentation. A quiet ethicist online becomes trustworthy not because they know everything, but because they remain humble, ethical, emotionally grounded, intellectually sincere, and genuinely committed to reducing harm while serving life wisely. Book 12 ultimately reframes success through a peace and harmony lens. Meaningful leadership is not self-elevation, but sustainable contribution to collective flourishing. Scholarship becomes compassion embodied. Technology becomes ethical service. Communication becomes peace building. Leadership becomes nervous system regulation lived publicly. Ultimately, Book 12 teaches a single cultivating truth to learn by heart and embody daily. Leadership begins within. Scholarship without compassion becomes ego. Influence without X becomes manipulation. The quiet ethicist online learns to think deeply, teach gently, serve steadily, regulate wisely, and contribute humbly so that knowledge, technology, and leadership become instruments of dignity, peace, and human flourishing.